Sefer Bereshit, Parashat Vayeishev, 4th Aliyah. It was at that time that Yehuda went down from his brothers and turned away toward an Adulamite man whose name was Hira. There Yehuda saw the daughter of a prominent merchant whose name was Shua. He married her and consorted with her. She conceived and bore a son, and he called her name and he called his name She conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. And yet again, and she bore a son and called his name Shelah. And it was in Chezib when she bore him. Yehuda took a wife for his firstborn. Her name was Tamar. But Yehuda's firstborn, was evil in the eyes of Hashem, and Hashem caused him to die. Then Yehuda said to Onan, "Consort with your brother's wife, and enter into levirate marriage with her, and establish offspring for your brother." But Onan knew that the seed would not be his, so it was that whenever he would consort with his brother's wife, he would let it go to waste on the ground, so as not to provide offspring for his brother. What he did was evil in the eyes of Hashem, and he caused him to die also. Then Yehuda said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, "Remain a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah grows up," for he thought, lest he also die like his brothers. So Tamar went and lived in her father's house. Many days passed, and Shua's daughter, the wife of Yehuda, died. When Yehuda was consoled, he went up to oversee his sheep shearers, and he and his Adulamite friend Hira to Timnah. And Tamar was told as follows, "Behold, your father-in-law is coming up to Timnah to shear his sheep." So she removed her widow's garb from upon her, covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself up. She then sat by the crossroads, which is on the road toward Timnah, for she saw that Shelah had grown, and she had not been given to him as a wife. When Yehuda saw her, he thought her to be a harlot, since she had covered her face. So he detoured to her by the road and said, "Come, if you please, let me consort with you." For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, "What will you give me if you consort with me?" He replied, "I will send you a kid of the goats from the flock." And she said, Provide you leave a pledge until you send it." And he said, "What pledge shall I give you?" She replied, "Your signet, your wrap, and your staff that is in your hand." And he gave them to her, and consorted with her, and she conceived by him. Then she arose, left, and removed her veil from upon her, and she put on her widow's garb. Yehuda sent the kid of the goats through his friend the Adulamite to retrieve the pledge from the woman, but he did not find her. He inquired of the people of her place, "Where is the prostitute, the one at the crossroads by the road?" And they said, "There was no prostitute here." So he returned to Yehuda and said, "I did not find her. Even the local men said there was no prostitute here." So Yehuda said, "Let her keep them, lest we become a laughing stock. I really sent her this kid, but you could not find her." And it was when about 3 months had passed that Yehuda was told, "Your daughter-in-law Tamar has committed harlotry, and moreover she is conceived by harlotry." Yehuda said, "Take her out and let her be burned." And she was taken out. She sent word to her father-in-law, saying, "By the man to whom these belong, I am with child." And she said, "Identify, if you please, whose are this signet, this wrap, and this staff." Yehuda recognized and he said, "She is right, it is from me, inasmuch as I did not give her to Shelah my son." And he was not intimate with her any more. And it came to pass at the time she gave birth, and that behold, there were twins in her womb. And it happened that as she gave birth, One put out a hand. A midwife took a crimson thread and tied it on his hand, saying, "This one emerged first." And it was as he drew back his hand that behold, his brother emerged. And she said, "With what strength you asserted yourself." And he called his name Perez. Afterwards, his brother, whose hand was the crimson thread, came out, and he called his name Zerah.